towards doing exactly that, to live this life to bring glory to his name. We'll spread light, we'll speak life into the lives of people. We are also going to interact with people and bring good news. Bring good news. There's a lot of bad news, but we are going to bring good news to the hearts of men. I love Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, that says that, let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth, but only that which is good to impact grace into the hearts of those people who listen to you. So that's what we are going to do, all right? Now, President William Ruto has pushed back against mounting calls for his resignation through growing Ruto must go chants in street protests and social media posts. In an address at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, NSC, Ruto questioned the motivation behind the calls for his early departure, saying all Kenyan leaders have eventually exited office. The past 2 years have seen deadly youth protests against Ruto's administration over the high cost of living, taxation, unemployment, government corruption, and his contested policy reforms.
My time will come and I will go. Just like those who were there before me did. But respectfully, sirs, madams, let me ask you. So, what are your reasons for this Ruto must go? I'm sure it's not because of the spelling of his name. Maybe because you don't agree with the ideas, the policies, and the plan he has for our nation, which is okay. But please, would you kindly favor us with your counter plan? Hey, we cannot replace a plan you don't like with nothing. And I hear my brothers and sisters say, let Ruto go, then we will figure out. And we will tell you what is the alternative plan later. We cannot tell you now. To me, that sounds like the wash conmanship. If you seriously have a plan that does better on the economy than I have, that does better on health than I have, that does better on creating jobs than I have, that does better on education than I have, you should be bold enough to tell us. One term, Kasongo, Ruto must go, is not enough. Nobody is going to corner us. Sorry, guys. You have to come up with a better plan. Slongaliering is not enough.
It looks like, those chants, the one-term chants, are really disturbing the president. This is not the first time that he's talked about it and questioning, you guys are saying, I go, and then what next? So it looks like this are really disturbing him. But anyway, he's a politician. He's been through these kind of things, and let's see how he's going to handle it. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has launched a scathing attack on the Law Society of Kenya and its president, Faith Odhiambo, accusing them of siding with criminals and seeking bail for individuals charged with terrorism. Murkomen, who spoke amid mounting criticism over the government's decision to charge violent protesters with terrorism, said the LSK was on the wrong side of history by focusing on defending suspects instead of standing with business owners and citizens who suffered losses during the unrest.
Seen my Law Society of Kenya leadership and as a member, I totally disagree with those who want to make it lighter. They want to make it look cheap when we say that people who are banning courts, banning police stations, banning businesses with petrol bombs, stealing guns, banning houses for police officers, banning vehicles for county government and for individuals, banning supermarkets, looting people's businesses. All those people are properly defined in the Prevention of Terrorism Act of the Republic of Kenya. They are defined to be terrorists because they have committed acts of terror. And if we find them attempt to do so, even in this city, we are going to charge them for what it is. Because there is no point for the Law Society of Kenya to spend a lot of energy to try to reduce the bail terms for suspected criminals who have properly been arrested and located in the scene. You know, banning properties and banning police stations and banning courts. Those are terrorists that must have their day in court, and they must not get the assistance of any civilized person, let alone the Law Society of Kenya. I want to ask the courts not to be intimidated and to be partners with the National Police Service, to be partners with the security sector in trying to forestall a crisis in the country. I want any lawyer to look at me on the face and define for me that a person who has used a petrol bomb to ban a court or ban a police station or ban administrative offices or ban a supermarket or ban anybody's property or ban government vehicles and tell me another definition that is far much better than the one we have given under the law of Porter, that is Prevention of Terrorism Act.
Meanwhile, Junior Member of Parliament George Koimburi has pleaded not guilty to charges of stage managing his abduction, false publication and conspiracy to defeat justice, contrary to Section 117C of the Penal Code. A frail-looking and sickly Koimburi appeared before Principal Magistrate Benmark Ehobi after an order was issued requiring him to appear in court. During the proceeding, State Prosecutor Victor Owiti requested the court to issue an order for the accused person to avail himself for fingerprinting taking on the 24th. Koimburi is accused alongside Peter Kirato, Kanyenyaine MCA Grace Nduta Wairimu, who are said to have participated in the self-abduction.
Where would the fingerprints taken? So we can agree at 9 tentatively. So with that undertaking that the first accused person will present himself for the processing, I'll adopt similar or proportionate bond terms and bail terms as that of the other accused persons. So the accused person, the first accused person, may be released on a cash bail of 300,000 and then conditional upon him presenting or availing 3 contact persons. So he'll, on top of the 300,000, avail 3 contact persons. Already you have a date for mention on the 5th of August.
You know, me, I think members of parliament, just like footballers, should be given an Academy Award for, or the Oscars for acting. Some of these people, I mean, this guy appeared so frail looking. Anyway, it's a matter in court, let me not give comments on the same. The opposition Democracy for Citizens Party has rejected the calls for a national dialogue between the ruling class and Gen Zs, saying it is doomed to fail as the Kenya Kwanza regime remains unpopular. The opposition slammed President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga for calling for dialogue despite not fulfilling promises made to Kenyans and the execution of justice to extrajudicial killing victims.
Everybody in Kenya knows there's a problem. Instead of listening to the agencies, the issues they are raising, abductions, extrajudicial killings, corruption, misappropriation of public resources, President says, no. These people have been incited by Rigiji and Uhuru. You know, the president does not know the problem in Kenya. He has given 7 reasons so far. He's a very confused person, extremely confused. When the agency's protest started in 2024, he said it was my deputy and Uhuru. They are the ones who have incited people. He stayed after 3 weeks, he said, no, it is the NGOs and the civil society. He stayed after another 4 weeks, he said it's Ford Foundation. Do you remember? The other day, he said it's a church. Okay? He said the church, you know, they are the ones who incited people, church leaders, nini. He went back again, he said it's the opposition. This Sunday, he said it's the parents. Yeah? He said it's poor parenting. William Ruto, please, can you make up your mind? What ails your country?
I wish there was a way like we do in the church, and I tell my husband, preach it. Continue injecting the truth. And the moment you do it, and we can be able to transform our country. Tell them it is wrong to kill the children. Tell them it is wrong to lie. Tell them it is wrong to give false witness. It is wrong to abduct the children. And that is why they don't want me to speak, because they know the church is listening. And the church will listen, and the church this time has stood, and we are standing, and we are going to be firm, and we will stand and continue to speak, because that is our work. And therefore, those are the things that I speak, and I think that is what is lacking many. But I'm a preacher. I am a woman of God ordained, and I don't.
And you know, there was a lot of talks about her, Dorcas Gachagua, with a lot of people criticizing basically the National Assembly leader Kimani Ichung'wah over the remarks he made about Pastor Dorcas Rigathi. Murang'a DCP officials have demanded an apology and immediate legal action. Party officials condemned Ichung'wah's comments, calling them a personal attack on the spouse of the former DP. They accused Ichung'wah of launching a smear campaign against women in leadership.
Inasemekana tunaongea vibaya. Sisi tumesimama kidete bila woga, na tunasema Kimani, tumekupe 48 hours from today. Murang'a DCP party fraternity and the leaders you are seeing here, we have given you ultimatum of 48 hours. If you don't withdraw, kama utatoa hiyo matamshi, sisi tutakupeleka kotini.
Ani Ichung'wah, mahali popote ulipo, tunaomba uombe msamaha kwa Dorcas Rigathi. Tumekuwa tukiona wamama wakikamatwa bila makosa yoyote. Tunakemea hiyo jambo kama wamama, tunasema haifai, na wamama tuache kuwekwa uoga.
Kwa sababu Mama Dorcas ni mchungaji yule ambaye amepakwa mafuta, amechaguliwa katika dini, na pia tunajua vile huyo mama ametusaidia. Kama huyo mama ndiye alikuwa anaongoza ile kampeni ya boy child.
Wale wako serikalini wenye wanasikiza wanaume wakitusi wanawake, ama wanawake wanatusi wanaume, ningeomba kwa heshima muigirie hiyo maneno, muache kunyamaza.
All right. Now, the lady herself, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, decided that she was not going to remain mum over the accusation and publicly defended her husband, while indirectly criticized Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah following his controversial remarks about her. Her remarks come amid growing political tension between the opposition unit and the ruling United Democratic Alliance. And she addressed recent criticism directed at her and her husband, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, for appearing together frequently in public and political forums. Without naming Ichung'wah directly, she took aim at those questioning their partnership.
And as he supports me, I also support him, together with my children. There is nothing else. He's the head of our family. And I don't know what anybody has a problem, a husband moving with his wife. For Jehovah God says, they shall become one flesh. And they will be with each other, and they will be naked, and they will not feel ashamed. So what is the problem with me and my husband? There is nothing wrong with my husband being with me and I being with my husband. That is the divine law. Amen. Amen. The other thing is that family values must be entrenched in our societies. Because if, for instance, you have a situation where, what are you suggesting? Yeah, we are there praying for marriages every day in the churches. And what are we praying for? We are praying for families to be together. Right now we have mental illnesses, mental health, coming from broken families, separating families. And I think that is one of the areas that our country need to address, as well as nations of the earth. And that is why sometimes when he gives me to speak, he's not giving me to speak because I don't know, I sit. How can you sit on a man like this? This is a man who is causing a whole nation not to sleep. A man where the president, the deputy, the members of parliament, they hardly say anything else. I also listen. I hear they are always talking Wamunyoro. Wamunyoro, everybody is talking Wamunyoro. Is that a man you think what they are saying? You are such liars. And I will not stop loving my husband. I will not stop supporting my husband. I will support him. The other thing is, I will not stop praying for him. I will be a pillar for him. I believe in his vision. I believe in his dreams. And I support that he talks the truth.
Well, I kind of support her. I mean, what's wrong with her basically operating with her husband? We need to see more of family-oriented partnership. Why should we celebrate people for not, going out with their wives? I don't see anything wrong with that. I really don't. But anyway, probably there are things that I don't see, but I really don't see anything wrong with that. If I'm a pastor, why should my wife be involved in in the pastoral work that I'm doing? Anyway. Kisumu Court has declared activist Boniface Akach over violence incitement charges leveled against him following his arrest during the June 25th, 2024 demos held in Kisumu City. Akach's case was dismissed due to lack of sufficient evidence presented by the prosecution. The activist, who expressed his relief after the acquittal, condemned the government for using state agencies to silence dissenting voices. He vowed to continue with the fight against bad governance, saying he will sue the government over alleged mistreatment by police while in custody last year.
I was charged with the case of obstruction. The police were alleging that during the 23rd protest of July last year, I was using stones to block the road. I was inciting members of the public to throw stones at them, that I even eventually assaulted police officers. Fortunately, after their very trumped up charges and their very weak prosecution, they have not been able to prove to court that I did any of those crimes. I want to appreciate the Lady Justice Nyigei for ensuring that her court has not been used to victimize or to suppress the kind of dissent that we are trying to express. I am going to take action. I am going to make sure that I also get my justice, because I was not only abducted, I was held in Comunicado, I was illegally detained, I was tortured, and I was again maliciously prosecuted. So I'm going to consult my lawyers and see what kind of action that we can take to ensure that not only do I get my justice, but also a lot of young people who are facing the same predicament as I do. We have nothing to celebrate today. We are just having a solidarity march with all the other young people who are also facing malicious prosecutions in court, fighting battles that they don't understand. We stand in solidarity with Boniface Mwangi. We stand in solidarity with Generali. We stand in solidarity with Chebukati. We stand in solidarity with Garang.
Right. Let's now take a look at what is headlining the newspapers today. We start with the Nation, Daily Nation. And this is what it says. Raila puppet or ODM rebel. They're talking about Sifuna. Sifuna has been a very different person. A guy who stands he's going against the grain. I mean, his party is going this direction, but he's going completely opposite direction. And so the question is he Raila's puppet or an ODM rebel? Is he being used by Raila to say what Raila cannot say in the government because he's already eating together with the government? Or is he an actual ODM rebel? Raila defended Sifuna's hawkish stand. I like that. I mean, ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna has constantly dismissed his party's association with government, contradicting his boss Raila Odinga. Now he has declared ODM-UDA deal dead, days after Mr. Odinga affirmed it. Is he a rogue official or the mouthpiece of his party leader? Very good question. And then top travel plans in top gear as Kenyan set free from Saudi prison returns. The mother is so happy, I tell you. Wow. And then the Supreme Court and the LSK are holding talks on Ahmed Nasir's ban. You remember the Supreme Court banned Ahmed Nasir from ever representing anyone in the Supreme Court, ever appearing before the judges for some of the statements that he was making. Nasir has been very vocal on the social media concerning the Supreme Court, calling the judges corrupt and inept. And so they decided, out Naja, we are not going to have you here because you're holding us in contempt. And then the third page is autopsy, Toto Touch CEO was strangled. Now this is the saddest, craziest thing I've ever heard. I mean, this woman, Susan Joki Kamegere, the CEO of Toto Touch, died at a city hospital. She was first and foremost taken to the hospital against her will. And she kept on posting on social media that her life was in danger. The person who is alleged to have initiated the, taking her by force was the husband. For what reason, nobody knows. So she's taken to the hospital, and she says she was injected with a substance without her permission. And then the postmortem now reveals that she was strangled to death. I mean, how callous can human beings become? How, she had recently secured a senior position with a European firm and was in the process of finalizing travel documents. The plot thickens. Who wanted her dead? So bad that they had to take her from home and take her to this hospital to murder her. Private hospitals vow to withhold services as SHA fails to pay them. Now, these are the things when the president is asking why people are saying he must go. These are some of the reasons why, because on the ground, if these hospitals don't provide services, then people are going to suffer. And as they suffer, they're going to see it as though he's the one who has failed them and who is causing them to suffer. Now, schools are struggling with shortage of STEM teachers. And then as Ruto says that Kinawa Munyoro are doing wash politics. And then State Defense DIG Lagat in court over Ojwang's death. Then the back page of the Nation, you have Kenya coach McCarthy refutes talk of any rift in CAP, happy with the progress of the team, and he says, I'm fully in charge. Okay. If he says so. Then, the Star newspaper, Safaricom hits 50 million users 25 years later. I mean, 50 million. 50 million. We are almost 55 million. See, we are 55 million, approximately. I mean, the population of Kenya. Okay, even if we approximate around 57, so you want to tell me only 7 million in Kenya are not registered to Safaricom? Okay. Baby Pendo case victims push for officer's arrest. That's interesting. Split in Raila's camp over Ruto 2027 deal. Remember, ODM will be having their AGM, I think in October, to decide how they are going to push it. But Raila has already told us what is going to happen, because he said that he's going to back UDA until 2027. So we already know the decision of the party, because Raila is ODM and ODM is Raila. And he's already said he's going to stick in there until 2027. Why Defiant Sifuna could be on his way out of ODM, that's what the Star says, but I don't think he's out. Report reveals rot in Ruto's fertilizer subsidy program. Hey. Report exposes how infractions left farmers with substandard inputs, hurting harvests. Aki, yani you give people, and this is not, I don't think this is Ruto. Ruto, the president, basically gave a provision for people to provide fertilizer, the government to provide fertilizer. But you have these individuals who are brood of vipers, as Jesus would call them. I mean, they love money so much that they don't care about the future of the country, that they would put very substandard fertilizer, sell it to farmers, knowing very well it's going to compromise the yield. And when you compromise food in a country, what are you? Because of money. Na utakufa and then utazikwa kwa 6 by 6. All the billions you have in your bank account, you will leave them there, and the fools will use them. So you risk the food security of a country because of your own pocket. Anyway, unajua, we will not live forever on this earth. We will not live forever on this earth. And that's the beauty. Senators clash over fund meant for marginalized county. Then you have this George Koiburi guy. When he was taken to court, he was almost fainting. The MP who is accused of abducting himself. This guy abducted himself. As in, there's evidence of the vehicle that went to get him at home, the Subaru. He took it from his friend. I mean, surely they didn't even, they made a very weak attempt at changing the number plate. And so it was very easy for the police to track it. It was owned by a friend. Now, yesterday he went to court. You look at him, and the next thing you think he's going to be taken to the ICU. And I'm very sure after being released, hapo alienda kula manyama deadly. But anyway, these guys are very funny. It's very, very funny. Women endure forced C-section, says report. Hey, forced. Wilson Airport expansion faces safety risk over land grab towers. You know, Wilson Airport is a very important airport in the country, mostly so for small planes. But the saddest thing is that there's been a lot of land grab around it, even on the land that is supposed to belong to Wilson Airport. And some Kenyans have actually come up with high-rise buildings on that airway. And you wonder, where was the government when all these things were happening? The people are building houses, high-rise flats are coming up, yet we have planes that land at Wilson Airport. You know, at times, unabaki ukishangaa. So where are the planes supposed to land? Are they supposed to come, land on top of buildings? Or how are they supposed to land? How is Wilson Airport being expanded while those houses are still there? Why were the houses and the estates there allowed to develop throughout from the time of, I guess, Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru, and now Ruto? I mean, that place has been taken over. Anyway, the Standard newspaper goes for the Nganyas, and it talks about rogue Nganyas. And guess which matatu is on the front page? It's a matatu called Mood that is owned by the son of President William Ruto. This matatu is said to have been done, I mean, he's said to have used 14 million on the matatu. It's got, you know, very interesting stuff, including a DJ, a stand in the matatu. And the Standard says, by there, I'm not against it. If it's his money, let him use it. If you want to put a swimming pool inside the matatu, it's okay. It's your money. What the Standard says, they roll through Nairobi streets like kings without crowns. Matatus with no number plates, no rules, no fear, backed by political muscle and hidden behind shell companies. These rogue vehicles are turning public transport into a circus of impunity, while ordinary Kenyans are crushed under the weight of traffic laws. The powerful raise above them, literally, with DJs, drugs, dance floors on wheels. This is anarchy in motion, sanctioned by silence and blessed by the highest office in the land. And the president's son, George Ruto's just launched Mood Matatu, now flouting rules with regulators and traffic police, turning a blind eye lest they get into the bad books of the first family. Makes sense. I mean, would you stop Ruto's son's Matatu if you are a police officer in Kenya and the Matatu was driving on the wrong side of the road? Would you stop it? You might end up finding yourself stopping traffic in Lamu Forest. Then we have the woman taken to hospital by force was strangled, autopsy revealed. And then you see what she had written. She had said before she was murdered, she had been posting things on her socials. She had said, they forced me to lie down and injected me again. I told them I was allergic to some medication. If death looks like this, let them take me back home. This is so sad. Nurses Union backs suspension of council boss over illegal internship postings. And then you have the matatus. The story on the matatus on the Standard, very interesting stuff. A third force forming away from Ruto and Gachagua for 2027 duel. President pleads for chance to transform Kenya. MPs want civil servants to use public hospitals. Nominated MP Sabina Chege has sponsored the motion seeking to compel public officers to give government hospital first priority. Okay, let's see. It's not the first time they've tried it, you know. I remember, when was it? It was it Charity Ngilu? I remember it was during her time, something had happened. I think she went out of the country and people started saying, was it Charity or who? I'll remember the CS. If you remember her, you can post it on Facebook. I'll actually look. She had gone out of the country seeking medical, and people started saying, how can she go outside the country to seek medical? She's he or she's CS of health, but cannot trust the local hospitals to take care of him, and expects Kenyans to trust the locals to take care of him. So I remember that had happened then. So it's not the first time this is coming, but anyway, let's see how far this is going to go, whether they are going to actually get anything happening. Then we have Matthew Otieno. Seems there is division in ODM party, those for the broad-based and others against it. Yeah, Matthew Otieno, there seems to be that happening. And let's see how we'll talk about it tomorrow morning, as we discuss some of these things and see how this is playing out. Raila faces defections over deal with Ruto. Who is going to defect from ODM? Let me ask you. Unless these are MPs from other regions, who's going to defect from ODM? Majority of the MPs in ODM basically are members of parliament because of Raila Odinga. That's why I was saying ODM is Odinga and Odinga is ODM. So majority of these guys are in parliament because of him. So I'd like to see who is going to defect. We can bet. I can put some money on this one, and I hope we don't get arrested for betting. But I can put some money on this. Ain't nobody's going to defect unless it's MPs from Central who are in ODM. Defect and go where? Hey, Angoa. We're scared. Lagarde suspension bid stalls again as Attorney General dispute High Court jurisdiction. Hey. Hey. You know, there are things that you don't ever want to hear. You know, like this. APRO, as Department of Defense or DOD, forces KDF officers to save unused lunch money. Hey, this, yawa. The Department of Defense has notified the members of the Kenya Defense Forces that any unused lunch money deducted from their salaries will be converted into savings. The directive, which has stirred growing resentment within the ranks, comes amid growing discontent over the government's pay-as-you-eat policy, a move that junior officers say exposes their commanders' failure to shield them from the burden of Kenya Kwanza's austerity reforms. I don't know. Hey. There are things you don't touch. Let the army enjoy their lunch. Okay, let the army enjoy their lunch. The last thing you want to have is have these guys discontented and complaining about some of these things because it doesn't augur well for the country when you have a discontent military force. It really doesn't augur well. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. So I don't know why these guys are pushing this. Anyway, probably they know better. Who are we? Court orders Treasury employee to forfeit 75 million in illicit cash ruling. Okay. Ojkiombo land appeal collapses after key appellants withdraw. Then we check on the back page, McCarthy, between a rock and a hard place. Harambee Stars coach Benny McCarthy arriving at Arusha Airport. You got a picture, that was July 19th. And they withdrew from the Four Nations tournament. And the coach is defending that the tourney was part of Kenya's preparation for the upcoming 2024 CHAN. Maybe, I remember the conversation was that the field was pathetic. They were being forced to play in a field that was not in very good condition. And you know, when you play in a field that is not in very good condition, now I'm speaking this as an expert, having played for Harambee Stars and Manchester United and Arsenal, and also, having had teams like Chelsea trying to poach me, and I refused. So I'm speaking as an expert here. When you play in a bad field, you risk injury to your players. So if the field was potholed the way they are alleging, then, and there was no chance of them changing that, you just walk away. I mean, you have to walk away with dignity. You have to get to a place whereby it's not a favor you've been done for. Let me give you a story that I was given by Elisha Ongoya. I'll mention him because now he's a public figure. Before he started his legal profession, I mean, immediately after, actually he was in pupillage, he was taken in by a very senior lawyer that I'm not going to mention. And he gave me this story, it was in public. So they went for lunch, and this senior lawyer told him, this is how much I'm going to pay you. And when Elisha looked at it, the pay was like I think a month's lunch. the amount that this lawyer spends during his lunch for a month. And so he told him, you want to tell me I'm only worth your 1 month lunch? That's how much I'm worth to you? So he rejected the offer and said, you know, he gave out his counter deal and said, this is what I think I'm worth for now. I'm giving you a period of 3 months. After 3 months, if you don't call me, don't bother. Now, this is a senior lawyer. And so before 3 months, he had called, was given his offer. And when he was given his offer, he said, okay, now do the contract for 1 year. And the contract was done for 1 year because he said that after 1 year, I want to decide whether I want to continue or not. Now, you got to understand that during this period, there were quite a number of lawyers who were working for this firm, who had gone there for internship, who were fighting, would give anything in the world to be retained in that company. But here is this guy who's telling them, give me 1 year contract, I'll make a decision. And he told me after 1 year, I'm not going to renew it. And so after 1 year, I mean, he refuses to renew. And then I asked him, dude, as in this is one of the best law firms in the country and you're treating it like, you know? And then he tells me, Fred, you got to realize one thing, is that when this kind of things come, it's, the person is not doing you a favor, neither are you doing the person a favor. They make you an offer, you're offering a service and they are paying for it. If they are not happy with the service, they tell you, we're not happy with the service. If you're not happy with the pay for your service, the amount of money they're buying your service, you tell them, I'm not happy with this. So, and he told me, it's not a favor they're doing me. I'm worth more than that. 1 year later, he didn't sign the contract, renew the contract. He went with a senior lawyer and they formed their own partnership. And now, like they say, the rest is history. But the same senior lawyer was still using him to do his research and paying him good money. So you see, don't allow anyone to look down on you. It's not a favor they are doing you. No, it's not a favor they are doing you. Any person who does not think you're worth is wrong. And you don't have to subject yourself to them. I mean, their opinion is not God's opinion. You stand by God's opinion, and his opinion is truth. So don't allow yourself to be looked down on. Stand firm. Hold your chest up front and your chin up. And know you are special before God as you face the days. Do have yourself a lovely morning. Remember at 9, we have Your Faith Today. And then at 2 p.m., Manukato. Take care.